Item number 120-17, public comment followed by board member comment. Mr. Trees.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'm John Trees from Warm Springs District. The town hall meeting that I just heard about, is that about the acquisition of the property in Hot Springs?
Yes.
Well, while I'm here, I'll go ahead and talk about that a little bit if I may. It makes absolutely no sense to me to buy that piece of property, and we already have a piece of property that would serve the general public far more than a piece of property in Hot Springs. I believe the Hot Springs property would only take care of foot traffic. If you think about the tourists that are coming into Bath County pulling boats, trailers, RVs, they can't get downtown. And we already have that piece of property in Mitchelltown that already had a very well thought out plan for that piece of property, as you all well know. It would have served not only as far as a visitor center and for the tourists, but it would have served all of the local taxpayers. There was an amphitheater there. It would have served the taxpayers quite well. Now, we were supposed to, you all had talked about getting input from the public to see what the public wanted to do with that piece of property. And I can assure you the general consensus is to continue with that, not spend over $500,000 of taxpayers' money for a piece of property we don't need when we already have that 8+ acres in Mitchelltown. It just does not make good sense to do that. All right? Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Trees. Rhonda Clayton.
Clayton. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Board. I'm the Bath County Public Library Branch Manager, and I'm here to present the monthly report from the library. In the month of August, we have had an increase in total circulation by 14.4%. We have also had an increase in our monthly patron count of 16.7%. We just finished another successful year of summer reading, and I wanted to share with you all this evening the winners from the Rockridge Regional Summer Reading Contest. We have Paxton Rivenbark. He won a kid's Kindle as part of his participation in the summer reading program. Sarah Griffith also won a Kindle awarded from the Bath branch. And our system-wide prize winner was Patty Reiner. So I'd like to congratulate all of those people and thank the community for their support.
Thank you, ma'am. Stephen Hunter.
Stephen Hunter, Mountain Grove, Warm Springs District. I was going to address a couple rumors. I don't guess the first one was a rumor that you're thinking about renegotiating the location of the visitor center. I didn't want to spread any rumors, as they're saying out there that if you spread them, all it does is depreciate their reputation as yours as well if you spread them. But I think since it's not a rumor, I agree with Mr. Trees, John. I think I would ask the board to reevaluate, go a bit slower on this decision, and entertain the thought. One of the rumors that I've heard is the homestead is somehow behind this, and perhaps it's a visceral, just a gut feeling on my part that I've overheard something, but I don't know. If that's the case, then I think maybe we as Bath County citizens, we all understand the importance of the homestead, and if it happened to go under, Bath County would be in certainly dire straits. But we need to reevaluate, if that is indeed true, how much control the homestead has. And been talking to a lot of people, and the charm of Bath County tourism, and I'm convinced, is much greater than Hot Springs or the Omni. Okay, it's much greater than that. It's all the people, it's all the natural resources, it's all the little mom and pop businesses, it's all the artisans that are now here in Bath. I think just ask you that you entertain going a bit slower on that, and if you cannot make a decision with after the public meeting at the firehouse, I'm not on the timer. Thank you. Very good. Thank you. That's the first time that's happened.
Thank you for the reminder.
Usually my wife cuts me off at 30 seconds instead of 30 minutes. But anyway, just to reevaluate that, and if you do not get some, after taking the pulse of the citizens and you don't get a consensus on what to do, seek some professional help on this. I don't know what the tourism plan or the whatever plan that we paid for as citizens, what it says to do or where to locate it. But the corridor, the 220 corridor, is an ideal place, as John mentioned. Plenty of room for things like we're facing this conundrum of farmers market, where to have it. Perfect location. And then also have events that would not only attract the tourists of Bath, but also some of the citizens of Bath. Could I mean, I love hot springs, but I don't like driving down into hot springs because you got to drive down to Cedar Creek, turn around, and come back. But anyway, and then the second rumor, and this is again, this is just a rumor that I've heard, and God forbid it takes me a while to hear things over Mountain Grove because I only come out once every 2 weeks. But the rumor is that after Miss Collins retires from her position, that there's some scuttle about trying to position her into some position within the county. I just want to say, just think about it, reevaluate that, and try to squelch these rumors as quick as you possibly can. All right? Because if I hear it in Mountain Grove, God forbid everybody in Bath County's heard it. Okay? So thank you very much.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Roberson?
You know, Yogi Bear said, here we go again, deja vu all over again. We now have another hot button item facing the council and the citizens, and that is the visitor center. I thought we had put this behind us. So I appreciate you're going to have a public comment, but I'd like to go a little bit further. The general feeling is now about the board, no matter what the public says, you're going to do what you want to do. I know this is an unusual step. It is too late for the November election. You're spending the county's money. The registrar has explained to me you can request a special election. I don't know the ins and outs. I would like you all to consider putting this on a special ballot. I know it costs a little bit of money, but there's a lot of money at stake, and that will give the citizens their chance to say, we want it in Hot Springs, or we want it in Millboro. My preference is you've given us all this buildup about a visitor center that will serve the community, not just the tourists coming in, but the locals that live here. He is willing to speak about what it takes as far as he knows for a special election. I think that takes you off the hot seat, and it tells us what the people in this room would like to know. Thank you for considering.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Trinket. Sorry. Go ahead. Mr. Wendell was next.
Go ahead. You're up. Oh, okay.
Jay Trinka, Warm Springs. I'm before you as a private citizen, not as a member of the EDA. You recall I opposed the 2% lodging tax increase in the Office of Tourism. Mr. McWilliams knows as well that I opposed it. I lost that argument, and the board passed it, and it became law. That's the way a democracy is supposed to work. Now, so to speak, it is the law of the land, and I support it. And I expect my elected officials to support it as well. Mr. Byrd, Mr. Hall, you voted for it. Now, the purchase of that building in Hot Springs for a visitor center is a bad idea. The way this county is doing planning for the visitor center is simply mind-boggling. The comprehensive planning process seems to be a thing of the past. There's no longer any clear path to development. You, and that's the imperial you, consider the board to look at this thing and the current board. have changed their mind at least 3 times now in the course of action for the visitor center. The previous board bought the property in Mitchelltown, did the architectural work, and you all did the demolition and more planning. Stopped the project once, restarted it, and now you want to scrap it again and go downtown. You took Mitchelltown off the tax rolls, and now you want to take the property in Hot Springs off the tax rolls. The Mitchelltown Visitor Center and Park can be neatly paid with the lodging tax, not money out of the general fund. The center, and as I've said before, and I provided you with a petition for a Veterans Memorial Park, will be a positive enhancement for the visitors and most importantly for we the people. It will not only be a way to get visitors out of the hotel and on the road, but a nice place for us, especially us old veterans, Vietnam era guys who are just about ready to die off on you. You bought the commercial property in a prime location in Mitchelltown. You eliminated that property from economic development, and now you want to buy another piece of commercial property in a prime location and take that property out of the commercial hands. You also demolished a couple restorable historic buildings. The board charted an expensive study on how to commercially develop Hot Springs, and then you ignored. Lastly, and most importantly, is the fact that Warm Springs is the county seat, and now you want to have the county seat in Warm Springs and part of it in Hot Springs. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
Mr. Wyndham?
Good evening. My name is Jonah Wyndham of the Valley District. I have a copy of these comments for the clerk to include in minutes of this meeting, excuse me, so that they will be recorded in their entirety and not in the manner that the board has chosen to now use to record the minutes of board meetings. I have some concerns with the intention of the board to purchase the Virginia Hot Springs building, item 124-17 in Hot Springs, to be used as a visitor center for the county. There was supposed to be a request to the board tonight for permission to begin to negotiate with an architect for the visitor center and master plan for the property that the county owns in Mitchelltown. I see that is not happening. The lodging and dining group has worked with this board through Mr. Harrison and the tourism department to advise and provide input for a visitor center on the Mitchelltown property. We have not been informed about any changes excuse me, my papers are stuck, in direction by this board. What are you hiding from us? Has any research been done to determine if a visitor center in the Virginia Hot Springs building will meet the requirements for a certified visitor center in Virginia? If not, we will lose a great deal of the free promotion provided by VTC. There is not parking for a visitor center in downtown Hot Springs. Where is the visitor pulling a boat or camper that needs directions to Lake Moomaw going to park? Is it wise to take property that is valued over $500,000 off the tax rolls? The Economic Development Strategic Plan for the county calls for retail growth in the village of Hot Springs, and yet the county is proposing to take a vital property out of the private market. And last but not least, a great deal of input from citizens of the county was requested and given about what the property in Mitchelltown could be for citizens of the county, as well as visitors to the county. A great vision was coming together to create a sense of place, a center for visitors, a place for the arts, a place for local food producers and artisans, a place to remember our veterans, and all of this would interact with local citizens and visitors from all over the world. I do not believe that the Virginia Hot Spring building will provide that. And if I could please request, I'm kind of speaking for the lodging group, so if I could have another 15 seconds. In closing, let me say that we have an opportunity to build a place in Mitchelltown, a place that will bring visitors from far and wide, and when they are here, they will meet and interact with what makes Bath County great, the people that live here. And they will go to downtown Hot Springs, and they will go to the homestead, small lodging establishments, local restaurants, grocery stores, gift shops, antique shops, gas stations, and repair shops, spas, and every other business in Bath County. This county lives and dies on tourism. Thank you for your time.
John Hancock.
Mr. Chairman, Board, I'm not here to talk about the Visitor Center. I'd like to, I'm here to talk about item number 122, which is considering the letter of support. And Jean Lebert and Mark Miller are here and also are informed on this. And so when you get to that item, if you have questions about it, feel free to ask us. But my name is John Hancock. I work at the paper mill in Covington. I've been there for 33 years. And my first forestry job working for Westvaco was working in Bath County. So we have a group called the George Washington National Forest Stakeholders Collaborative. And we worked for several years providing input to the National Forest Plan. And we were able to provide input to the plan, and the Forest Service accepted many of our comments. And I represent forest industry, so I work for the paper mill. I'm trying to get wood into the mill, biomass into our new biomass boiler. Mr. Miller represents the Virginia Wilderness Committee, so you would think we come from different ends of the spectrum. But we've learned that with the GW National Forest, which is 1.1 million acres, there's enough of the forest to go around for everybody, from everybody that uses wood to the Wilderness Committee for federal designations and everything in between. And the Nature Conservancy has taken a leadership role, and Merrick Smith, who was here before Jean, was successful in writing a grant application that brought over $500,000 to Bath County through a project called the Lower Cow Pasture Restoration Project. So Bath County, the Board of Supervisors, supported that project in 2015, wrote a letter of support. And now that the project is being implemented, we are harvesting trees, we're doing some of the biomass thinnings, some of the stream restoration work, building some trails. The project's undergoing. It's been very successful. We really appreciate the Bath County supporting that, and we're asking Bath County to continue to show their support for that as we move forward with this project. And local support for something that is potentially controversial, like a wilderness designation. There are 2 wilderness additions that are in the George Washington Plan. It's consistent with the plan. And this Lower Cow Pasture project includes those 2 wilderness additions. So local support is critical if that is going to move forward. So we're asking for your support for that.
Thank you. Mr. Chestnut.
Carl Chestnut, Cedar Creek District. On Cedar Creek District, for the visitor center downtown, I think it's the greatest thing you ever come up with. It's not only going to save money, you're going to build buildings and stuff on this lot here in Mitchelltown. It'll be about $1.5 million. when you can buy a building downtown where all the footwork is. That's where it should be for all these people walking into town from the hotel and everywhere. It should be downtown. They're not going to walk from the homestead up here to the visitor center in Mitchelltown. And it belongs downtown where everything is together down there. And the businesses downtown, it's a shame down there how many of them's closing down there. You know why? It's because there's nobody down there anymore. That's where you need the people down there to give them the information and stuff to go to the restaurants and where they need to go. So why would you pay another $1.5 million to take this land over here and develop it when you already got a development already built downtown Hot Springs? They can still use this over here to put businesses in. You can use it for the park, which it should be made for, like Jay said. That would be good, but you don't have to do it there. Do it downtown. You can do it right over in the lot. But to spend another $1.5 million to put an amphitheater in, they want an amphitheater. Let them go over to the Douthie Park or down to the lake or somewhere else. I mean, we don't need one of those in Mitchelltown. We got plenty of them here in town already. So I think it's the best thing that ever happened to this county is for y'all to do that. Is to buy that building and put the people in there to work there, the tourism, and the Chamber of Commerce, the whole works, put it all in one building downtown where all the people walk. And for people who want to park a boat or something, they go down on the parking lot and park it. You're not going to park it up in Mitchelltown either. And people coming here know where to go to Lake Boomall and everything else. They're not going to take a big boat downtown and try to park it. So I think it's the best thing y'all can come up with. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it John? Is it you? Yes. If I pronounce that right.
Thanks. I'll keep it brief. I'm Jean Lorbert with the Nature Conservancy. My predecessor was Merrick Smith, the director of the Allegheny Highlands program, and I'm just filling in until they find another Merrick. But I just wanted to briefly echo. I'm on the stakeholder group, the GW stakeholder group, and I just wanted to echo John Hancock's comments. He was speaking on behalf of all of us. So what we're doing now is moving forward, hopefully, with wilderness recommendations for 2 specific areas that were in the plan. The group agreed to them, and we'd love the county's support as we try to move that forward. You know, that takes a congressional designation, so county support and local support is an important part of that. So, if there are any questions about that item, we can all be happy to answer at some point. Thank you.
Thank you. Chad Haynes.
Mr. Chairman, hello. Yes. Hello. And the board. Pat Haynes, Warm Springs District. I'm here to speak about the visitor center being in Hot Springs. I have never not been for the visitor center being in Mitchelltown, but at the time that was all coming together, the building in Hot Springs was not for sale, and this is a difficult decision, but I think one of the decisions that the board should consider is a healthy Main Street. And as one who is invested in Main Street and has been for 30 years, I have experienced the delicate balance between a healthy Main Street and a dying Main Street. And we've already lost a bank. There's talk, and I'm the landlord, and I don't know if the drugstore will remain on Main Street. And I think one of the most powerful images a small community can provide is a vibrant Main Street. And even though this is sort of a whole different path, different direction, different strategy, one of the things that's I look at it is, and selfishly, because I'm invested in it and I know how important it is, I know how difficult it is that the tourism center on Main Street could be like an anchor store in a shopping mall. It would provide steady, constant foot traffic. A little bit like the drugstore and like the post office. If you lose the drugstore, you lose more foot traffic. And it would be a bit of an insurance policy as hopefully the community grows. The community grows, then it would be a catalyst for people to want to invest on our Main Street. And then maybe at some time in the future, with the property in Mitchelltown, my concern about the property in Mitchelltown is the county big enough? Are we growing to support such a sprawling tourist center with an amphitheater? I'm all for it. It sounds like a grand idea, a wonderful idea. But are we going to be able to support it? Does it make sense now? It may make great sense 5 to 10 years from now. But this building coming on the market now gives sort of an instant cure to a need for a tourist center in a space that desperately needs to have something going on. And I'm sort of on the fence, but there's a real need, and we don't want Main Street to start to look like Covington. And I mean that. Thank you.
That's the end of the list. Anyone else for public comment? Mr. Williams?
Yes, I'm Bruce McWilliams from the Williamsville District. This is sort of pertaining to our visitor center downtown or in Mitchelltown, but I have some greater concerns about the fact that taxes were increased this year, and it looks like the generated money from those tax increases are immediately rolling over to a new capital investment. I think the Planning Commission spent a tremendous amount of time looking at what the county needs, infrastructure. Fire and Rescue have spent a lot of time. All of them were denied this year. And all of a sudden, we have $660,000 on a program that's only 2 months into a new budget. I'm a little concerned about what information we're getting, or what information are you getting, that the numbers are so different in just a couple months. I'm very confused by the fact that all of a sudden you have money that you didn't have for some basic things. I think we can talk about the high school parking lot. That literally has been on the books for 25 years. We don't have the money. They've been denied. Here we are. We could be taking care of those needs. I understand they have some requests in today's budget about some fuel stations that need repaired. Again, you're going to say, well, we don't have the money. Well, yeah, you do, because this money's coming out of the general fund. So I caution this county to spend money that we've already spent money on, and you're using local tax dollars and not tourism dollars. And that's a big difference in terms of what you're talking about right now. So thank you for your consideration, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Public comment?
Yes, please. Thank you, gentlemen. Can you hear me? I'm Ellen Ford from the Millboro area. I am not on the fence. I think that having a tourist center in Hot Springs is a very bad idea. The guests who are staying at the homestead already and walking down into Hot Springs are not looking for interests further afield. The Homestead Hotel, the Omni, I suggest you ask them how interested are they in providing transportation drivers to take guests to other places where they want to go. I have heard that they have shut down on that, but I live in Millboro, and fortunately I don't hear everything that's going on. I'm not sure, though, that they are interested in taking people to places that belong to people in the innkeepers group. And they're probably, I don't know about taking people to Douthit or the Jackson River or the Cowpasture River. You'd have to ask them, and I hope some of you will. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Public comment? Mr. Robertson?
Wally Robinson, Cedar Creek District.
I've listened to a lot of comments tonight about this building, whatever. I think the county would be doing the citizens of Bath County a great favor by purchasing this building. The money they'll save for purchasing this building, and I think if anybody ought to be concerned, it ought to be the homestead, because the homestead might lose a lot of customers. They're able to visit the tourism center or the information center and find out what else Bath County has got to offer. What a great county it is. All of their other bed and breakfasts and all that they'll find out about. It might hurt the homestead more than it will help the homestead, because people might want to try another bed and breakfast or something a little bit better, or find out more about the county, visit our springs. Bath County pretty well takes care of itself when it names itself Bath County. That's what it is, a county of Bath, because of the water and all that we have here. And if they get to find out, they can stay at some end or whatever cheaper and find out what our forest and all is all about. I think it'd be doing more damage to the homestead than it will to the other businesses in this county. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Can I ask one more question real quick?
Sure.
So, could you, Rick Robertson, Warm Springs, can you put a rumor to rest? The rumor is that you're doing this because the homestead wants the Mitchelltown property to build housing. Can you put that rumor to rest right now? Is that one of the reasons? So that is not one of the facts involved in this, that's going to be turned over to the homestead for housing?
No.
Okay, thank you.
They don't want one property.
Okay.
Anyone else for public comment?
Hi, I'm Lisa Hamilton from the Williamsville District. And, you know, we need a visitor center, although most people who come here know where they're going. And I feel it doesn't, you know, one way or the other, there have been some great points brought up for both locations. But the issue I have is using my taxpayer dollars to buy a piece of property for tourism when we have such great income from tourism. I don't understand why those funds can't be expended for the building instead of my hard-earned tax-paying dollars. And if I could choose, I'd get us a parking lot at the high school over the building if my taxpayer dollars were going toward it. That's what I would prefer. And I also want to know, what are you going to do with the property in Mitchelltown? Are we going to recover some of the costs that, you know, we've spent? I think these are good issues. I think everyone's made good points. I just don't like my tax dollars going towards something we already have.
Thank you. Anyone else? Last call. I'll open up for a board member comment. Start with Ms. Collins.
Yes, thank you. And I think I surprised some people because due to my professional situation, I was not going to be here this evening, but luckily my boss allowed me to leave early enough to drive the more than 2 hours to get back to the county. And I wanted to squelch a rumor. I have a very good job. I have no desire. I spent my more than 30 years working in public service, both as an elected and appointed official. My time is past for that. I want to do what I want to do, and that is to do the work I'm doing to help people in need in my position, which is a very good professional position. One of the things that I'm probably going to hear through the rumor mill is that I am going to be deployed in the future to help those in need in Florida and Texas from the hurricanes and disasters. Because the company that I work with, that's the kind of work we do. We help people in need that lose everything that they've got. And if you've never been to a site to see it, I hope that one day everybody gets to see that. Because once you see it, you appreciate everything you've got in your community even more than what we all complain about on a daily basis. You no longer want to complain because you recognize that there are people without. So I just want to share with you, I made the trek back because I care about our community. And I asked my boss, how many people would do that? Think about that. How many people would take the time to do that? Also, how many people see the big picture of our community? Think about, and I'm sharing this because I'll be going off the board. Think about, where are we going to be in 20 years? Nobody seems to think about that. They only think about what they want for the time they're here. Just remember that. Because if you're only thinking about it from where you are from the time you're here or what you want in your pocket, guess what? You don't truly care about your community. It takes people coming together who disagree under any circumstance to make the community be the best it can be. It's not about how much money you make. It's not about what you individually want or what any organization individually wants. It's about what's best for the community. I walked down Hot Springs on Saturday. I didn't see, it was Saturday morning, I did not see the level of activity that I used to see 3, 4, and 5, 10 years ago. If you go into the businesses in Hot Springs, they will tell you they do not have the level of sales that they even had a year ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, or 10 years ago. If we want Hot Springs to die, it will. If we want the homestead to close, it will. If we want businesses to close there, it will. So instead of doing the one over the other approach, let's see how we can do the best for all. I'm challenging the community to do the best for all. And the reason I'm challenging the community is, yes, there's a property in Mitchelltown. What could it be? It could be a visitor center. It has 4 parcels. It could be housing. It could be businesses. It could be amenities like a park, like an amphitheater. It could be whatever the community wants it to be. Does it have to be owned by the county? No. Can it be a public-private partnership? Yes. Can it be private investment? Yes. Can the building in downtown Hot Springs that we might be interested in, doesn't necessarily mean we're going to purchase it. Could it be a visitor center? Yes. Could it be businesses? Yes. Could it be a focal point for revitalization of downtown Hot Springs as what the economic development strategic plan spells out needs to happen? Yes. Let's get off our individual agendas and look at the big community perspective. The tax rate increase this year was because of an assessment that brought the revenue down. We did not even bring the taxes up to have the level of revenue that we needed to have to level the revenue for the county with the tax increase of 2 cents. It would have taken 4 cents. So we have decreased revenue. Would any purchase of additional property come from the tax base initially, but it could be a loan in which the tourism pays it back, and tourism pays back for the property in Mitchelltown if it gets developed by a private developer? The sky's the limit in Bath County. Think about it that way. The sky is the limit. We, working together, can make the positives happen. But the more we continue to divide and conquer on social media, the less success this community is going to have. And guess why? That's one of the reasons I am getting off the board. Thank you.
Mr. Hall.
I don't have any.
I'll hold off.
I'll hold off also. Item number 121-17.